Does the channel provide value?
Focus on the foundation.
I am a travel vlogger.
It's always about communication.
Build those partnerships.
What are the problems that you solve for your clients?
Just being ahead on the technological side of things.
Leading an organization.
You not only want to survive, but you want to thrive. They said it wouldn't last, and they said that you can't drive profitable and incremental revenue through the affiliate channel. But here we are, 20 years later, and the affiliate channel is alive and kicking and generating profitable revenue for thousands of retailers across the globe. Hi, I am Jamie Birch, your host of the Profitable Performance Marketing Podcast, where we talk to some of the industry's best and brightest about their careers, about leadership, and about how to drive profitable revenue through the affiliate channel. Hey everyone, welcome to the Profitable Performance Marketing Podcast. My name is Jamie Birch. I am your host of this podcast and the founder and CEO of JEBCommerce, one of the leading affiliate marketing management agencies out there, and award winners as well. Today I have a special guest. I know I say that every time, but they're all special. Today I have Chris Park, a 28-year veteran of digital marketing. Yes, I said that right. 28 years. Chris is one of our senior affiliate managers on the JEBCommerce team. So you get to meet one of our own again on the podcast. Now, Chris and I talk about a lot of stuff, all the way back to when we first met each other, but we dive in very quickly into affiliate marketing. Should you run side-by-side programs in two different networks? When is that appropriate? We talk about downloads and should you have downloads and what happened way back when to change the course of consumer downloads right now. We talk about when you throw out affiliates and when you don't. And then we talk about managing multiple brands. And we really dive into why affiliate marketing is all about partnerships. So Chris has been a good friend of mine for my entire career. I was so happy that I saw his Facebook message several years ago where he was looking for his next opportunity. We were able to bring him on board. So without further ado, I'm going to step out of the way so you guys can listen to my conversation with Chris Park. All right, Chris Park, welcome to the Profitable Performance Marketing Podcast. Probably my longest running relationship and friendship in affiliate marketing is with you. We've both been doing this forever. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
How are things going in your neck of the woods back in my home state of Pennsylvania today?
Well, you're eastern Pennsylvania, so we don't actually even count that. But Northwest Pennsylvania, things are nice. Things are nice in Northwest Pennsylvania. I've been here for forever. So
right on. Now, if I recall correctly, were you a football coach in that area? Or are you still doing that?
No, not doing it anymore. I did it for about 10 years and started my career down at the junior high level and finally worked my way up to the high school and was there 4 years, I believe. And had a lot of fun, but I'm having a lot more fun actually having the time back. So
I bet I was seeing our local high schools post all their football pictures as they started their season last week and excited to actually be playing football this year.
Well, and a lot of the people say, are you happy to have your fall back? But as soon as the new year comes around, you've got the boys in the weight room. And then when spring comes around, you've got spring ball and summer has 7-on-7. So it's pretty much a year-round sport. So
you got your whole year back now.
Yeah, exactly. At least parts.
And now you are busy being the world's best grandfather.
Trying to be, yeah. That's got 3 now. So
wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, you and I have known each other since at least 2003, if not longer than that.
I think, but early 2000s, we'll put it that way. So
yeah, back literally back in the day. I was looking through some of your content on LinkedIn, and I saw a review I gave you in 2008 that said we had known each other for 5 years already. At that point, that seems like forever ago.
Yeah, I think we met face to face for the first time at some Italian restaurant in Little Italy in New York. I think it was a dinner prior to a conference. And I actually met both you and Brooke Schaff and had thought both of you were females up until Jamie. And you laughed about it and Brooke was insulted. But
yeah, well, I think at the time there was there was 3 of us in the space with names that could go either way.
Yeah.
And yeah, I I mean, I dealt with it my whole life. I knew more Jamies that were female than I think it took me
Yeah.
until I started my career to meet another male Jamie. So that stuff pretty much rolls off my back. I had thought when you said Italian restaurant, I had thought about our experience at Commission Junction way
Oh
back in the
yeah.
day,
Yeah.
where I think we all ordered family meals and we had a ton of food left over.
Well, actually, I think we ordered. The guy told us we should order halves because the larges were really large, so we each got a half, and it was still enough to feed 4 people. So
That was crazy, and then we decided to gift our leftovers to some in the homeless community and didn't realize we caused quite a ruckus afterwards by giving it to one individual.
Yeah, he got attacked by about 7 others. So
That's a lesson of 2 small town boys in
exactly.
a big city, California, not realizing how things work way back when. Awesome. Well, Chris, you've been in this space since the beginning. Tell me your origin story. How did you get into affiliate marketing?
Well, I was working for Blair Corporation at the time. They're the hometown employer here in Warren, Pennsylvania. Back in the day, if you didn't work for Blair, somebody in your family did. The actual city is about 10,000 people, and Blair employed about 2,300. So my dad worked at Blair. My granddad worked at Blair. Actually, between the 3 of us, almost 100 years in the
Wow.
company. So my granddad had 52 in the company. So
52 years.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
The last few years, actually several years, he was treasurer. So I don't know how much he was actually doing, but other than driving in and sitting in his office. But in any case, I got called back home to work for Blair, so I came to Blair and I was working in the advertising department as a copywriter. And eventually, I was one of the ones that was pushing that we needed a website. And finally, they agreed, and we contracted with IBM and IBM's WebSphere product to create us a website. Went down to Atlanta to Global Services, worked with them on the creation of the website, and then once the website was actually up and running and we were no longer using Catalog City to do our orders, prior to actually having a real website,
Wow.
a real e-commerce website, we had links on our own website that went to Catalog City, who would take the orders and then fax them back to us. And it worked, but come Christmas time,
Wow.
a lot of faxed orders were coming in and they were clogging up the one fax machine. So people all over the company started getting faxes of orders that were coming in, because as soon as one was clogged up, they would go to the next one and go to the next one. So we had to send somebody around 4 times a day collecting all those off the fax machines. But in any case, once it got up and running and we
Wow.
were actually e-commerce enabled there, we hired a gentleman from Chicago named Jeff Parnell, and he came in to be our director of e-commerce. And after about 2 weeks, he called me down to his office and said he wanted to start an affiliate program, and he wanted me to be his affiliate manager. And obviously, I said, sure, I'd be happy to do that. I had no idea what affiliate marketing was. So we were going to be with Dynamic Trade, was the network we were going through, which became part Performix, which became GAN. And but in any case, I learned as much as I could. Started another program with CJ that was side by side programs, and been doing it ever since. So, and it was great writing ad copy, but when you're writing copy for catalogs, there's not a whole lot of creativity, and you really can't put put it really down to how you're accomplishing your goals and what your goals can be. I mean, other than writing a little blurb about polyester pants, it's not really there. But what I loved about affiliate marketing was, in addition to the relationships, just the opportunity to be able to see how much that program is growing and all the different ways that you could actually tickle one side to actually get it working again, or actually throw people out even sometimes that weren't playing well. So
So what's kept you in for, now we're 20 some odd years later. What's been the thing that's kept you engaged and excited about affiliate
The
marketing?
friendships, that is hands down. You know, I managed the Blair program for about 16, 17 years, I guess, and added in there a few others from Old Pebble Traders. We got Bedford Fair, and then when Blair was acquired by Blue Stem Brands, I had 11 brands that I was managing programs for, and they decided to hire an agency to manage all things online marketing and wanted me to be the liaison between the agency and the brands. And that didn't sit right with me because I had so many friends on the affiliate side, and that I didn't want to just lose them. So I told Blair that if that was the way that they were going to go, I was probably going to have to leave. And I don't think after 28 years they believed I'd leave, but I turned in my 2 weeks uh, about a week later,
Wow.
and yeah, I just it's so many friendships built up over the years. I didn't want to lose those people, and didn't want to be like snooping on Facebook just to see what people were up to. So
Which I do anyway now. That's awesome. And so then you worked at a couple agencies, and now you're one of our senior managers at JEB.
yeah, I'd always wanted to work with my buddy Jamie Birch, and I don't know if you remember, but every time you posted something, whether it was on Facebook or where, I'd always say, "Hey, you taking remote employees yet?" And you'd always say, "No, no, no." But I guess eventually it worked out, and I got to come home to JEB. So
Yeah, and it's good. It's good to have you home. I can tell you exact intersection where, yes, I was looking at my phone at a stoplight, and you had posted, I think, on Facebook or LinkedIn, and I think we were talking before the next stoplight on the
yeah,
phone about you coming on board. You posted, I saw it like the moment you posted, and at that time we had started to look at remote. This was pre-pandemic. Now we all are remote, and that's not a problem. We have people all over the country now, but back then we hadn't really opened it up. So in fact, many times I pass that intersection. I'm like, it's where Chris and I chatted about coming on board.
well, it's funny because 2 years prior, when I had decided to leave Blair, I posted something on Facebook that knew of somebody with 18 years experience and might be looking for a job, and it was probably within 3 hours. I got somebody saying, I can't use it, but I know somebody who can. And they put me in touch. And when I saw a couple of the other people that were working there, Lisa Riolo and Lisa Piccarelli, I said, that can't be bad. So joined up with them for a while. And when I finally decided that probably wasn't working as well as I thought, I posted on Facebook again. And yeah, within 10, 15 minutes, I got the call, "Dude, are you looking for a job?" So
That sounds like me too.
exactly. So
Well, and we're really glad to have you. Now, you mentioned some things in your kind of origin story, some of the different experiences you had that I'd love to dive into. I think would be real helpful for our listeners. And one of them, so I want to ask you about side by side programs, removing affiliates, and then managing all those brands and working with multiple brands. So, tell me, would you run side by side programs today? Do you think that now side by side programs back then? Talk to me about why that was important, and kind of is that viable today?
back in the day, and the only reason I went with side by sides, I went to a net.marketing show in Seattle, and was talking to the folks at Dynamic Trade at the time. And across the aisle was Commission Junction, and I'm looking. They had several of the same merchants on the backdrops, and they weren't like Linkshare that you had to have an exclusive program. So I went over and talked to the CJ folks, and maybe 6 months later, we started a program with them. And I think back in the day, it probably was a little bit more important where you would run into a lot of affiliates who would say, "I hate Commission Junction," or "I hate Dynamic Trade. I'll never work with somebody through them again." And so it was always nice to be able to say, "Well, we've got a program here also." And it caused a little bit more. You always had to merge the reporting, and I wouldn't do it anymore because Heiko DePaul. Heiko called me out
Wow,
on it all the
that's a
time.
name I haven't heard.
Heiko called me out on it all the time at A-Best Web because when traffic would come into Blair, we actually put in a front door that said, is this coming from Commission Junction? Is this coming from Dynamic Trade? And then if it was Commission Junction, we track it that way. If it was not, then. And so that way we knew who to credit the sale to. But Heiko always pointed out to me that there could still be another cookie residing on that shopper on the other network. And so if that person made a purchase, that person, per our contract, was entitled to a commission. And the more I thought about it, the more he was right. That, with dual programs, it's not that the affiliate is on both programs and you're going to commission them through both programs. That's why we set up that front door, was to keep that from happening. But
and you're worried about double commissions, right?
Yeah.
At this point, paying twice for the order. Yeah.
Per the contracts with the networks, we were probably in violation because that, even though we were saying that CJ cookie overwrote that dynamic trade cookie or performance cookie, that isn't allowed. It's only in the network that cookie can be overwritten. So technically, we probably should have been paying CJ affiliate and dynamic trade affiliate a commission on that sale if there was a cookie from each.
Yeah. So for our listeners' benefit, what you're talking about here is if a customer comes through network A and they don't place an order, and the cookie duration is 30 days. At day 25, they come through network B and they make an order. Now both networks contractually have complied, and that commission is due to both places, whether that you had some front door in there. And that's one of the reasons why you don't really recommend multiple networks now.
Exactly. Yes. I've learned a lot over the years, and honestly, I don't think that really is the case anymore. I think publishers are pretty much willing to work with you through just about any of the networks anymore. It might not be some of the really small networks or things like those along those lines, but if you're talking to CJ, Linkshare, and Impact, ShareSale, I don't think they have a problem working with you wherever you're at. So.
And that was, I remember for me, I've done that in the past too. That was the primary reason is Commission Junction had a universe of affiliates. Linkshare and Rakuten had a universe. ShareSale had a universe. AvantLink, Link Connector, all these had their own universe. There was a lot of overlap. But back in the day, I remember Commission Junction was heavily into lead gen and not anyone else was. So they had that. Linkshare and Rakuten was heavily in apparel and fashion. And so, but now, or when did you see that change to where affiliates were in, they were like, it's a network, I'm signing up, I'm integrating, and I'm there?
Well, there was always, ShareSale always had the disclaimer that they didn't allow any downloads into their program, and so I think they really had a following of affiliates that believed in that, and thus they should have, because around Christmas time you always saw something breaking on Ebates where it was overwriting affiliate commissions or affiliate cookies. So I think that was probably one of the main reasons why people didn't want to work with one network over the other, was just the downloadable software. And Ebates is Mo Moneymaker and Shop at Home's Golden Retriever.
Right?
Yep. So, and You Promises, You Remind.
Top Moxie,
I think they ran all of it there. And actually, I attended a meeting early on, like in 2002 in New York at the Yale Club, where they brought the networks together. They brought merchant representatives, affiliate representatives, and then the software, and discussed the whole thing. Nothing was really decided, but early on in my career, that gave me a really good understanding as to what was going on. And at that point, that was the first time I met Heiko, and I was just amazed. He wasn't what I expected. I mean, he was an enormous man, just tall and big. And I met Wayne Porter at that meeting, and a lot of my understanding of affiliate marketing is due to those gentlemen and several others, just because they were so knowledgeable about all the back end stuff going on, and I really didn't have any knowledge about that. It was all the relationships that I had knowledge of. So
Yeah, those two guys had, and Wayne specifically, unfortunately, we lost him, I think, last year. Heavy into the
yeah,
technology and just how the internet worked. Now, I remember I couldn't make that meeting. I really wanted to go, but in my mind, it was a scene from like old British Parliament,
yeah.
people yelling and one side after the other. Tell me a little bit what it's like. And then I'd love to ask you a question for our audience of about these downloads. They may not be familiar with it, but what was the meeting like? Because I imagine just contentious and people yelling. But was it?
It wasn't nearly as much as I expected. Typically they had one of the networks speak first, and then they would do pretty much a roundtable on asking the networks about this. And toward the end, they they forced the software companies to come up, and they were accused of everything from knowing that this was going to happen to just being bumbling nimrods that didn't plan on this and that they couldn't actually handle their software. But I was actually able to stay pretty much in the background and just watch. But a lot of the affiliate representation there, obviously, since they were getting their commission stolen, were the ones that were the most vocal and actually accusatory.
So I think this discussion would be real helpful. We're kind of diving real deep into the, in the deep end of the affiliate
Right.
pool here. But talk to me, what is a download? What was it then? And what is it now? And why was there a need to have this Congress of sorts to hash it
Yeah,
out?
and a name, you're going to help me with the name, but it was in the day, the affiliates, and I'm going to use Ebates as an example, had a download that you could download onto your computer that would always help you get your cash back. And it's very similar to what's running now on Ebates and Honey and any of the other several publishers that do it now. But back in the day, the big thing was screensavers, downloadable screensavers. You could download those screensavers, and Ebates' Mo Moneymaker software was attached to those downloads. And so it wasn't just something you went to get on the site. And I actually had a call with, and that's the name you're going to help me out with.
Okay.
What was his name at Ebates for the longest time?
Paul Nichols.
Yes, thank you. Paul and I probably had a 3.5 hour.
Shout out to Paul Nichols.
Exactly.
Love that guy.
We had a 3.5 hour discussion, and I said, "How can you put this in a download with a screensaver? How do you match this up to the person that is actually having a account on Ebates?" And he said, "Oh, they can do that." And we went round and round. I said, "What if somebody has the Mo Moneymaker software but doesn't have an account on Ebates and comes through and makes a purchase?" He said, "Then his answer was," and Paul, I'm sorry, that they keep that in an account until that person one day decides to sign up for Ebates and actually have an account with Ebates. And I told him I didn't think it was fair. I didn't think it worked. And so I told him if we couldn't be just coupon only, we were going to have to leave Ebates. And Blair left Ebates for about 5 years while I was managing the program. And so, so everybody understands what's going on there. It still happens today. But if somebody had
And
that,
Ebates wasn't the only one.
no, like we said,
Almost all of them,
Yeah.
the download issue, right? Whether they opted to download it or not was a big concern.
And I know some people were complaining back in the day about "you promises, you remind." It would pop up and say, "Do you want to get cash back with your order today?" Well, when they were in the cart. And obviously, most people are going to say yes. Well, they were setting the cookie even when the people clicked no, because that was a click,
Oh,
and the cookie required a click. They considered even a no response a click. So even if the people didn't want to get cash back, you promise got credit for that sale. So I know that was Deborah Carney. I remember was one of the ones that was. She and Kelly Stevenson, I believe, were the ones that found that it
Hmm.
was actually setting a cookie on that no response, and so it was just a really difficult time where uh, the smaller affiliates were getting their commission stolen, and a lot of that software wasn't designed quite as well as it is now. So yeah, it was a bad time.
yeah. And so for our listeners, we had consent of download
Yeah,
issues way back when, and again, this was 2000 to 2005,
yeah,
I think, right?
yeah, yeah,
And so you had consent of download. Did I really want this reminder? Was I choosing to get my reward when that shopping
yeah,
happened? And then you had this huge issue of these downloads. And I remember the vast majority of them, if not all of them, they all wrote affiliate
yeah,
cookies. So if a smaller affiliate A sent that user, they had a period of time where they could, that cookie day, where they could get credit for it. And if that customer made the purchase, that download would take credit for the sale when they
yeah,
really didn't have a whole lot to do with it, if anything at all. And so you had these really good smaller affiliates that were totally getting stuff stolen. Essentially, their contention was it was stolen from.
right, right.
And that led to everyone coming together and going, okay, what the heck are we going to do with this?
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, we're talking about forced clicks and just all different kinds of stuff and I thought for sure we'd see all of that go away. But, as time went on, it just became a little bit more fair. I say a little bit more because I still don't believe that some of these tools are fair to the smaller affiliates. But, it seems like any more people have decided, well, if you can't play the game that we've been playing, we've got to play their game. So you're seeing more and more of the larger coupon sites and cashback sites actually adding those tools now.
Yeah, that reward. So is that the big change? Do you think it's, you mentioned that they've been more fair. So has the technology of those downloads changed much since back then?
I think the technology has, and honestly, I think just the bad press that a lot of them got over this, and I don't even know if Top Moxie is still a company or not, but as everything else in affiliate marketing has, it just evolved until it became acceptable.
Yeah, and I kind of think to me, some that sort of just how the industry felt about it. It reminds me of early on in the blogosphere when, and I think of mommy bloggers specifically. If you or I reached out to them to help them monetize their site or come up with some commercial relationship with them, there was this hard line ethical thing of, I'm a blogger, I don't monetize this
Yeah,
and screw you. And then they'd blast us, on whatever social media was at the time. And that slowly changed to where there was no acceptance of commercial reward for creating content like that. And now it's not even a thing. Like there's networks that work with those mommy bloggers, and not to single them out, but they were at the time the most vocal. And so
sure.
I kind of think like now we see Honey has a download. They sold a couple years ago for an insane amount of money,
Yeah.
and so it seemed like maybe as the technology got cleaner, and minds just kind of changed in general. Because when those came out, wasn't there a real moralistic view of what affiliate programs what
Oh
were
yeah, yeah,
and weren't?
yeah. And that's when you saw early in the day all of those. It seemed like once a month there was some type of an article online about how affiliate marketing was never going to have the staying power to continue to be an actual online marketing channel. And, the death rattle was continually rattling month after month. And I worried about it to begin with. And then after a while, I just laughed about it because, affiliate marketing is pretty much one of the truest forms of marketing. And I just don't ever see it going away. So
Now talk to me about that. Why do you say it's one of the most truest forms of marketing?
it's pretty much referral marketing, and people, whether or not it's a blogger or it's a coupon site, if I'm looking for a product and I go to, whether it's a coupon site, and if I'm looking for a box of chocolates and I go to a coupon site and go to food and find a few different chocolate companies, it comes down to the point whether or not I decide I really like that kind of chocolate, or I'm giving it as a gift and I don't know what kind of chocolate they like, so I might as well get the best deal I possibly can on it and work that way. So I just think that, when you start talking about the paid placements with big magazines and big online websites, I think that's one of the things that's probably going to move away. There's really not a whole lot to putting a banner up and hoping somebody that's on Newsweek decides they want to buy a box of chocolate. You're just hoping to gosh that enough eyes see it that somebody wanting to buy chocolate is going to see that ad. But to actually be somewhere, whether it's a chocolate blogger or, like I said, a coupon site or a cashback site, where every time I buy anything, I'm going to go to that cashback site to make sure that I get my 42 cents off my box of chocolate. So
Yeah, it's when people ask me what I do, mostly my family, I don't tell them it's something new. We've been doing this forever. There's always someone making a referral on products, and I agree with you. I think it's as old as time. Okay, so hit the software stuff and the side-by-side programs. To kind of put a pin on that, is there a time where you'd run side-by-side programs? Is there like technical features that one network would prompt you to add a second, or affiliate segments or anything like that?
Yeah, I think so, because when I was managing all the Bluestem programs, management decided we were going to have all our programs through Linkshare, and Bluestem owned Fingerhut. Fingerhut is they're doing commercials now again, I see on TV, but they are one of those merchants that sells to people on a budget. So every product on their site is typically shows you can get this radio for $22 a month. It doesn't tell you what the real price is, and you're going to pay out the nose. You're going to pay 8 payments at $22 a month for that $69 radio. But in any case, because they're very budget friendly, they had their own in-house credit program, and they were very often trying to get credit applications. And so I think Linkshare was fantastic for all of the Bluestem brands retail programs. But I think if I was still managing that program, I'd be looking to move that credit application program to a different network that has better tracking and probably more affiliates that would know what it was doing. We had to go out and actually find the partnerships for that. There was no partnerships finding you on Linkshare for that credit program. And obviously some still tried to apply to it, but a credit program just isn't going to go real well on a coupon site.
So you still find affiliate segments that still can be true, but in overall, if it's a retail advertiser, is there that can be run on one network? You wouldn't necessarily run it on
No,
one.
I don't think so. And you and I both know, we've talked about it. Some merchants probably aren't a best fit for some of the networks, but I wouldn't look to open a second network. I'd probably look to move that program to a more suitable network.
Are you enjoying the show so far? Running an affiliate program can be very complicated. Running a highly successful affiliate program that grows year after year, well, that can be even more difficult. At JEBCommerce, we've been managing affiliate programs for over 17 years in almost every retail category you can imagine. With that experience comes a ton of successes, and we want to share that with you so you can learn what to do to grow your affiliate program. So we have a section on our website entitled Case Studies. You can access this page by going to jebcommerce.com/case studies. In this section of our website, you'll find industry-specific case studies, such as our new travel category case study, strategies and tactics we've used to grow incremental sales with our clients, an outline of many different tactics, strategies, and partnerships that we've executed, cultivated, and created in order to grow our clients' programs substantially year over year, and much, much more. Now, I want you to have access to these 100% for free, simply because you're a listener of this podcast. You can access these by going to jebcommerce.com/case studies. Now back to our show. So you also mentioned about throwing affiliates out. And I'm recording a podcast later today, a solo one, on just removing affiliates because they're not productive. But you have thrown out affiliates for different reasons. So tell me, what happens? What does an affiliate have to do to get your attention to throw them out of a program?
Honestly, if they're unproductive, boy, I'm really hesitant about throwing affiliates out for being non-productive because honestly, if I'm managing that program, that's on me about as much as it is on them. And I should be contacting them regularly saying, what can I do to get you? Now, obviously, some people joined the program and then said, that's not for me. And at that point, then, I guess throw them out. But I like to be able to, I always say it's a lot easier to get an affiliate in the program productive than to go out and find a new affiliate and get them into the program, get them productive. So when I'm talking about the ones that I throw out, obviously, more often than not, it has to do with trademark bidding. Mm-hmm. And back in the day with Blair, way early on, we finally decided that we weren't going to allow anybody to bid on trademark terms. And it worked out well. I'd get in the morning and I'd check and nobody's bidding. I'd check at lunchtime. And one day on a Friday evening, I had my computer here and I decided to do a check. It was like the Wild West. Everybody was bidding. So, they all of a sudden, those rogue affiliates knew I was in Pennsylvania. I was probably in the office between 8 and 5. So between like 7 and 6, they didn't bid. And as soon as 6 o'clock rolled around, those evening hours, they were bidding like banshees. So I think those are the ones that you really have to be careful of because honestly, if you're working with a partner, which we do very frequently, two or maybe even 3 partners that we have a good relationship with, allowing them to bid for maybe placements as a reciprocal, and they can bump out a lot of your competitors. But if you just let anybody do it, I know one time I looked and there was an ad that said Blair has good cheap clothes. And and we did sell cheap clothing, but
inexpensive.
Yes, and so that just didn't cut
budget minded.
And honestly, they were actually they were overwriting our ad. They were sending the traffic directly to Blair. And I've seen people that actually copied our ads and even put the Circle R on it. So, at that point, I don't ask them to please take it down. They're trying to game the system. I just go in, reverse commissions for the past 2 weeks, and then throw them out of the program.
Yeah, and I had a similar experience of finding out how my program was being taken advantage of. My affiliates, once you were able to start geo-targeting ads, they knew that I worked in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, that I traveled to New York and did some work there. And then I went to Vegas for the summits. And so they made sure that, and I was real active on social media. So it was easy to know when I was in those places. Well, one time I traveled to I think it was Pittsburgh, to pitch a client. And I didn't want anyone to know. And I thought, I'm going to go check this out again. And it was the Wild West. And that really, some of the relationships I had, and relationships are built on trust.
Right.
And I had to terminate some of those relationships because they knew too much about me and were being deceitful. And that's why they got kicked out
Sure, sure.
of my program.
Yeah, and that's another benefit of working with TM Plus publishers in a program. Early on when I finally decided to open it up a little bit at Blair, one of our first partnerships for TM Plus was anycoupons.com. And
David
that was when
Lewis.
David Lewis was still there. And David was over in California, and we ended up picking out somebody else out in Chicago. So David, 2 or 3 times a week, would email me and say, "Hey, when did you let so and so start bidding on trademark terms?" So I didn't. He'd send me a screenshot, and I'd look, and sure enough, I couldn't see it, but David was able to see it, so we were able to harness it that way. So if you've got 3 people checking from 3 different time zones, that can help out a lot too.
Yeah, and working with the TM Plus, you have your own enforcer there, and David Lewis was mine too at Coldwater Creek. I've asked him to be on the podcast, so hopefully he's able to.
Well, good.
He once sent me a request for an exclusive coupon in icing on a cookie cake from David's Cookies. He asked for a coupon for any coupon. He got it.
Okay, well, and it's funny because sometimes we talk about out of the box affiliate marketing types of stuff, and that's one of the things I do too. If we have a client that says we want to be working with this big, whether it's a blogger or a big news site or something along those lines, you might email them 10 times and get no response. Well, then eventually I'll start calling their front desk and asking for George, whatever. And if she says he's not in or he's not available, you know what? I know I've been actually emailing the right person now because they have confirmed that there is a George so-and-so there. So then I've been known in the past to send George a big, bouquet of fruit, the I can't even remember the name.
Fruit basket.
Yeah, the edible arrangements. I've been known to send in edible arrangements, and you know what? Unless you're a real jerk, you're at least going to send an email saying thank you. And the response card on there always said, my name's Chris Park. I've been trying to get in touch with you. I would love to chat, and give them my email address, my phone number, and sure enough, they'll at least email you and say thanks. And now you've at least got a conversation started. So
yeah, and so I want to read. This is a great segue. I want to read one of your reviews on LinkedIn.
Oh, geez.
And there are a bunch on there. So Chris Park has worn many hats throughout relationship with this particular affiliate. He's managed all aspects of our business partnership with superb attention and professionalism. Chris has superior insight and knowledge of this industry. I've seen him deal with difficult partnerships with the same verve and enthusiasm with all his relationships. And Chris's personality also adds to overall morale. So Trish here is talking about, your ability to develop relationships. And I've seen that too, and learned a lot from you during our time as friends. Why are relationships so important? You talked about, sending a gift to start that relationships. Why are relationships so vital and building strong ones so important in the affiliate space?
Well, I think even if a partnership doesn't actually start at that time, just having that relationship and keeping in touch with them and making sure that what their kids are doing, whether or not their wife is actually involved in affiliate marketing, also anything along those lines. It's always good to keep that because it might be 5 years down the road that I have a merchant that wants a client that wants to actually partner with them. And actually, that has happened in the past week, Jamie, where I have tried to get a relationship going with a certain review site. And they couldn't do it before because they like working through Amazon because they get larger commissions through Amazon. But finally reached out for one of our clients now for Front Point Security. And surprise, surprise, they responded back, we'd love to work with them. And so we had a call. They're as excited about it as I am. So
Oh,
and
awesome.
I think honestly that relationship with them probably started 4 or 5 years ago, trying to get, because they've got a huge following. And if whenever you go to Google and you type in uh, top 20 microwaves in 2021 or something along those lines, they're going to appear in the search there. So it's always been somebody I thought would be fantastic. They don't work with everybody, and they finally agreed. So I think that's where the relationships come in, is just keeping those and being friendly with everybody and listening to what they have to say. If this site had told me we just don't work with anybody, we require $100,000 buy-in. Well, I'm going to keep them in the back of my mind, but I'm probably not going to worry too much about them. But because they were always very cordial and always said, here's why we don't want to work with you at this time, I was able to listen and read between the lines and figure that eventually I'm going to get one of our clients that's going to be a match for them. So
Yeah, and I've made mistakes in my career that haunted me for a decade, where didn't take care of the relationship, and they wouldn't work with my clients until enough time had passed,
sure.
and enough apologies were given and accepted. And so and it's different than a paid search campaign, right? You can turn
Yeah.
off a campaign and turn it on, and you don't necessarily upset or strengthen the relationship between you and that keyword set.
Right.
But you're dealing with someone on the other side, right? A
Sure.
human being that remembers.
Yeah. And, it's always great too. Don't really want to toot my own horn, but I've got so many great relationships that any of the coupon sites or cashback sites, I've got a contact there that, once I take on a new client, I'll look and make sure that those sites are actually on their in their program. And if they're not, I can email probably a dozen of those right off the bat and have a response within 20 minutes that says, "Yeah, we'll add them today." So
Yeah.
it just helps out.
And I can't imagine how much time that cuts down on a new program.
Yeah.
If they have to build those relationships, it's got to cut, I would say, a year in the ramp up time to just be able to make a call.
Right.
So on that note, one of the things you also mentioned is when your company got acquired, you had now 11 brands. Were there any strategies or tactics that you used that were different when you had one brand as opposed to 11? So if someone's managing a program with a ton of brands, is there anything unique about that?
I really can't speak to that a whole lot, Jamie, because honestly, prior to being acquired by Bluestem Brands, Blair had been acquired by Orchard Brands. And Orchard Brands was trying to gobble up and acquire as many low priced women's apparel catalogers as they could. So I was managing the Blair program and then took on Old Pueblo Traders and Bedford Fair. And then it came on to be Appleseeds, Norm Thompson, Sahali. They were all very similar programs. So I had been managing the Blair program probably for 10 years at that time. And the program had grown from 6 figures to 8 figures. So we had we had something we thought worked when it came to women's low cost apparel. So we just took that formula and pumped it right into all those other brands too. The only one that was an outlier was Fingerhut because they had a lot of other products in their program. That one took a little bit more work, but for most of the other ones, I always had 2 affiliate promotions running per month, one from the 1st to the 30th, the other one from the 15th to the 15th. So every 2 weeks, I could email affiliates and let them know about a new promotion, keep them hearing from me. But it seemed like the affiliates liked the idea of a 30-day promo, and of
Mm.
course, then we'd do some shorter ones too, but that was always on the calendar. And typically, I would try and make sure that if Blair was doing a 30% off $100 orders, So was Bedford Fair. So was Old Pueblo Traders. So was Appleseed. So it made it easy to remember what was going on for all the other brands. And then that worked out well too, because eventually Orchard Brands created a monster site that had tabs for all of the different brands. So with all those different brands having the same promo out there, it worked well.
Yeah, similar strategies over multi-brands that had similar audiences
Yeah.
and similar products.
Yeah.
Definitely bring some efficiency. So tell me about some of your biggest wins in marketing over your illustrious career.
Well, I guess I would have to say number one would be the 2019 Pinnacle Award. I think that has got to be one of them there.
Oh yeah.
And it's just the longevity. And I think I've been doing this now for 21, 22 years. And the main reason for that is because I enjoy the work and I enjoy the partnerships. So, it's fun to come to work. I think that's the biggest benefit, that I enjoy it. And because I enjoy it, it makes my home life a lot better. My wife is fantastic. She has actually come to a couple conferences with me in New York and Vegas, and I think she actually sat down with you one time and talked. And
Yeah.
she gets excited about affiliate marketing now. She'll message me and say, "Did you see Zach's email today?" And I'll say, "Zach who?" And she's talking about Zach Johnson. She met Zach Johnson at one of the conferences and got his business card and started following moneyring.com. And so,
Yeah.
it's the point where she can almost talk affiliate marketing
That's
as well as
awesome.
I can. So I think that's just one of the biggest wins there, is that my enjoyment of affiliate marketing shows, and has actually made things to the point where she wants to learn more about it too.
That's awesome. What kind of has surprised you about affiliate marketing over the years?
I guess how things have stayed the same, but how much they've changed also. I keep thinking that eventually some of these larger publishers with the cashback and stuff are going to have to do away with their enormous flat fees. And that's one of the things that I would still love to see change is if you're if you're managing a client, if you're managing Ford, yeah, you're going to be on all of those sites taking part in their big promos and their big paid placements. But when a paid placement is the same cost for Ford Motor Company as it is for a company that does $10,000 a month in affiliate marketing, there's no way that there's going to ever be any room for that smaller publisher to get involved with that. And it's still, the other thing that's always bothered me is when one of those sites comes up with a double commissions promo. We'll let you on this page and we'll give you in an email, all you have to do is double your commissions for 1 week. Well, my commissions for my client are already at 15%. I have to go to 30% for that, whereas maybe one of my competitors is at 5, and they have to go to 10% for that to get included in that promo. But there's usually no wiggle room on that either. So I'd love to see affiliate marketing actually open up a little bit for the smaller merchants.
A little more democratization
Yeah, yeah.
and less aggregation. What are the keys to affiliate management? Like, what are the things that you need to be doing as an affiliate manager that if we have a budding affiliate manager listening, what are the keys that they need to do to run a really good program?
Honestly, I think one of the biggest is just listening. Whether or not it's listening to the rest of the staff, the rest of the team, listening to affiliates, you're going to pick up. There are so many affiliates that know so much more about this than I do, and more than I could ever hope to know. So, listening to them and not just trying to pitch them and tell them, here's my merchant, please sign up for the program, but getting on the phone with them and talking with them and listening to not only what their site is about, but what they're about. And I think that's going to be a big help for you in the long run, is just learning more about the people. And we all talk about it's partnerships and networking and that kind of stuff, but it really is the friendships. You can call it what you want, but I typically like to say it's the friendships that I've made. It's not the networking or anything along those lines, because networking um, kind of makes it sound like it's business. And
Mhm.
more often than not, affiliate marketing becomes personal. There's so many relationships out there. I just think you've got to work on your relationships. And as well as I do that when we see somebody and talk to somebody that might be applying for a job, if they're willing to tell us about themselves, and you can tell if they're listening to us, and
Mhm.
if they're looking over to the side, looking out the window every once in a while, it's pretty easy to tell whether or not they're going to do well in affiliate marketing just based on how they actually have a chat with you. So
I love that answer of listening. I didn't expect to hear that, but it's so true and so impactful. And I think now, especially with the advent of social media, we're so used to projecting our voice
yeah,
and trying to become part of the conversation instead of sitting back and listening. So that is fantastic advice. Now, we may have an advertiser listening to us that's working with an agency to manage their program. And this is a question I just kind of developed while we were talking. What are the keys that the advertiser needs to kind of get a handle on, things they need to provide, ways they work with their agency that you've seen that make that relationship, the agency and the advertiser, work really well? What are the keys from their end?
honestly, the one is one of those that you really can't do anything about. I think if a if a merchant is looking for an agency, I think one of the things I love about JEB is a lot of the times the team that would be managing the program is brought in for at least one call with that hopeful client, and I think it gives you
Mhm.
an opportunity to start that start that relationship right then and find out whether or not you're going to be able to work together or not. I've got some clients that I can tell you pretty much what their wives' names are, and and how many kids they have, what they're doing after our call, and there are some others that are very businesslike, and it just seems as though the ones where we're a little bit more friendly work a lot better, and it gives you the opportunity both as an agency and as a merchant to maybe say some of those things you might be afraid to say or not think to say because you're trying to keep it so businesslike. You know, if I'm in a good relationship with a merchant and they come up with a wacky idea, I'm going to tell them it's a wacky idea. I'm going to let them know, that's your decision. We can try it if you want, but I don't think it's going to work. Whereas if it's more of that business relationship where that merchant is saying, we want you to do this, well, yeah, we're going to try it. And we probably will let them know this is going to be difficult and here's why. But a lot of the times, I think it's just the relationship between the agency and the merchant and making sure that it's going to work for both sides. And, the other thing that I think a lot of times the merchants, if they're going to hire an agency, they need to trust the agency and realize the agency is the expert on the topic. So obviously there's got to be some pushback from the merchant, but if the agency is actually making a recommendation, I would hope that the agency and the merchant have a good enough relationship that they would say yes. Then if you feel comfortable, if you feel confident about that, then let's give it a go.
That's great. I love that answer. I know you and our team spend a lot of time to build the relationship with our clients as the foundation for their success. And we don't often talk about, and I don't hear a lot from advertisers saying that too, like to build their, we have one in particular that they focus very heavily on building a strong relationship with us. I had conversations with their CEO purely to develop a good relationship
Right.
at many different levels in our organization. And it's a great relationship. So I love that. So if you're an advertiser, you're either working with an agency or you're thinking about it from a 20 plus year veteran, worked at multiple agencies, has managed many, many programs, many of them that you have heard their names. That's the one thing that came to mind first is build a strong relationship with your agency. Focus on that, and that will lead to a lot more success. Chris, this has been fantastic. I've really enjoyed our time together.
Yeah, me too.
And if someone wants to talk to you, chat with you, follow you online, what's the best way for them to do that?
I'm more than happy to. My email address obviously is chris@JEBCommerce.com. My cell phone number is 814-730-3474. Feel free to give me a call. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I am very approachable. I always make sure that I've got all my contact information at the end of every one of my emails because, honestly, if somebody wants to get in touch with me, I don't want to make it difficult for them. And if somebody doesn't want to get in touch with me, well, they're not going to pay any attention to that footer anyhow. So, the people that do need to get in touch with you, it's best to make sure that they can do it easily. And as most people can tell, I enjoy talking about affiliate marketing. So, I'm always happy to jump on a call or answer an email.
Now, for anyone listening who just was surprised that Chris listed his phone number, I am not, because that is the core of a solid affiliate manager. Just like you said, make it easy to contact, and that's going to build a strong relationship. So I'm not surprised. You can definitely give him a call. But Chris, thank you so much for this time. I really enjoyed it. I think there's a ton of great morsels and nuggets of knowledge that you dropped on us today, and looking forward to seeing you face to face here shortly on our company offsite.
Yeah, me too.
All right, Chris, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, first of all, Chris, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. And I know we're heading into Q4 right now, and there is a ton going on with you and your team. So thank you for spending the time with me today in recording, I think, one of my favorite podcasts so far in our season 2. So thank you so much, Chris. Now, if you're one of our listeners, I definitely want you to take note of Chris's answer on the keys to good affiliate management. And I was expecting, bulleted items of here's how you do this, this, and this. But his key takeaway was listening. And we do so little of that now. But looking back on my career, one of the reasons that I was a successful affiliate manager, one of the things we teach at JEBCommerce and that we do with all of our clients and our affiliate partners and our networks is listening. There is always someone who knows more than you, and it's really a great tool to learn about your client, to learn about your affiliate, to learn about your network partner. And that helps you develop really strong relationships. So if you find that you're talking more on all of your phone calls, if you're having phone calls, I highly recommend them. But if you find that you're talking more than anyone else, maybe you need to turn that around. Ask some good questions and listen. I thought that was one of the best things to come from this, but I really also enjoyed the conversation on downloads. So if you don't know what those are, definitely replay that again. Chris does a really good job of talking about what those are, what they used to be, how they change now, and some of the things you need to be aware of right now managing your affiliate program. So Chris, thank you so much again. Really appreciated this. I want to give a special shout out to Gabe and Shane, who are managing all the post-production and marketing of this podcast. Couldn't do it without you guys. Really, really appreciate all your hard work that goes into producing the Profitable Performance Marketing Podcast. Now, if you want help, if you heard something about this today and you want to reach out to Chris, it's chris@jebcommerce.com. He also listed his phone number, so feel free to give him a call. We haven't had that yet, but I'm not surprised. Relationship building is at the core of who Chris is, and we love him for it. But you can also reach out to me in 2 ways. You can email me at gethelp@jebcommerce.com. give me your question, any background, and we'll set up some time, or I'll answer via email if I can. So that's gethelp@JEBCommerce.com. And you can also go to calendly.com/Jamie Birch and find a time that works for both of us to meet. And I'll spend time with you. We'll talk about whatever problems you're having, or obstacles or challenges or goals that you're trying to achieve. So there's those ways to get a hold of you. Now, if you have enjoyed this podcast, please share it on all your socials. If you know someone who would benefit from listening to this, send it to them directly. But we would really appreciate a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or whatever podcast player you listen to. So go there, leave us a 5-star review. Tell us why you like it. And if you want to be a guest, know someone who should be a guest, or there's a topic around affiliate marketing and performance marketing, partnership marketing that you want us to address on this podcast, just email us at gethelp@JEBCommerce.com. So again, I hope this was a really good experience for you guys. You got a lot out of it. Please let us know what you did get out of it. And thank you, Chris, for joining us. Thank you, Gabe and Shane, for doing what you do. You guys have a wonderful day.